And we're live. I think we're
We're
live right
live.
away. Yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
X took a minute to go live on, but I think we're live on X now.
Oh, exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome everyone. This is another episode of React Native Live. This is episode 9. We're kind of getting up there, almost double digits. I love that.
Getting there.
Yeah, yeah. As always, I'll be your host. I'm Mazen Chami, and I live in Durham, North Carolina. And I'm really excited to be joined by Jack Harrington.
And I'm
Jack,
really excited to
welcome
be
to the
here.
show.
Good seeing you,
Yeah.
Mazen. Yeah.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So I like in your tagline there, you have blue collar coder and TanStack contributor. We're going to talk all things TanStack, but
I love it.
Tell me more about blue collar coder. What is that?
TanStack.
Nice. I love your new logo.
Yeah. Blue collar coder. So that was something that I started, maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. And it was a YouTube channel. So I was over at Nike and I was doing principal architecture work and doing a lot of brown bags. And I was like, okay, I could do brown bags for 20 people, or I could do YouTube videos for like a lot more.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And the reason I called it blue collar coder was I kind of wanted something that was not very academic. I didn't like, I'm not that kind of guy, right? I make apps and, so for me, it's like, I'm cool with learning algorithms, but it's algorithms in service of a thing where that thing is making stuff. Right. And so it's very, kind of customer centric blue collar. And so I kind of want to bring that vibe. And so that's basically it. Like when I talk about stuff on my channel, it's always towards working engineers. What does this mean for your app? Like, wait, this is cool stuff, but what is it actually, how do you actually use it and all that?
Yeah.
And I think, and then that it was really in line, I think, with what Tanner's view of TanStack is. This is like, it's developers making code for developers to help them solve real problems. And, I just did a video recently on how TanStack Start does different. It handles SSR slightly differently, but it's actually more geared toward what we actually do as developers, which is really cool. So it's good to see when frameworks are addressing real issues for real developers, as opposed to just architecture astronaut stuff,
awesome.
Yeah.
Where are you joining us from? I like to always ask the audience to let us know where they're joining us from.
I am in not so sunny Portland, Oregon. So
it looks sunny outside. No.
Well, that's because this is a green screen, and that's a shot that I have from summer.
Nice. I love that.
Yeah, I was.
You got me there.
I used to actually like do recordings with real backgrounds and all that, and it was my office, which is what that is. And the problem was that the sun would change over time, and it also hit my back, and my back started like scorching. I'm sweating, and I'm like, this is not good. And I wanted something where I could just like, if it was 10 o'clock at night and I just need to reshoot one scene, I could just go bang. And so I went with a green screen approach. That's cool because you can do all kinds of fun effects with it and
things.
Yeah.
Nice. So to our audience, we haven't started yet. Really, we're just kind of chatting, waiting for you all to log on. Please let us know where you're joining us from. Grab your coffee, grab a drink, whatever time it is for where you're at. Before we kicked off, Jack, I was asking you about like your hobbies outside of tech.
Oh,
You said you were talking about your IoT projects. Something about a mushroom that changes colors.
A mushroom project. Yeah. So in Portland, we don't get a whole lot of sun for most of the year. And I don't even know why they sell these, but my wife picked up a set of like these really cool glass mushrooms that had LEDs in them, and they're solar powered, which, I mean, if you're in like, I don't know, North Carolina or Florida, that's okay. That's fine. Because, it'll suck up the sun during the day and just expend it overnight out of a rechargeable battery. And of course, like it maybe lasted like 3 weeks before these things were barely lit at night.
Oh boy.
But I was like, oh, they're cool. And she's like, well, how do can we just put them on power? And I'm like, I don't really want to run an extension cord across the yard for these things. So I started looking to the fact that we have like low voltage wiring for our landscape lighting, and then trying to figure out how to actually interface that 12 volt AC with some sort of LEDs. And it was like literally a 3-year project of learning how to do various like IoT combinations, how to manage power, what a buck was. Like a buck is a converter, how to make sure that everything was winterproofed and exterior, all that stuff. And 3D printing. And so it was this whole thing, right? And they multiple kind of like, yes, I have it, and then no, I don't, because it was like good for a week and then it died because like it got rained on or whatever. And so just recently I was working with Claude, actually, and Claude's so good for this kind of stuff. Like he was helping me learn how to solder because I just really wasn't good at that. Like there was just sort of fundamental techniques that I had problems with. And also he pointed me to this WLED thing, which is, there's a standard out there called WLED, and it's ESP32, which is like an embedded device standard. And so you can get your own actual chips and flash them yourselves, or you can okay, I'm just reading up on our chat. Or you can just buy these kind of off the shelf kind of things, and they're really cool. They have like a touch control and microphone and all that, and they connect with these programmable LEDs. And then so these programmable LEDs can be exterior rated. And so I ended up like just kind of stuffing like a bunch of LEDs into these mushrooms, 3D printing little stuff to keep them in there and all that, and soldering it all up, and then creating a box where the converter was and all this stuff. And now like I can go on my phone and connect to this WLED device and make it do disco stuff or whatever. And I'm pretty confident that it's gonna last, because really this is just a string of these lights that just happen to be inside of mushrooms. And so now I'm like thinking about, oh, okay, cool, now that I can do that, I can go in. I've got a porch, where we're watching movies in the summer, and my kid, my wife are into astronomy. And what if I go and like print out all the planets? Because people are, they have these printable models of all of the planets and stars, and you can print them as just a shell, and then you get like a light fixture essentially. And so the idea is to actually like architect a full-on thing where it goes in there and it's like a tree that has all these LEDs in it and that kind of thing. And it's pretty cool. And so I'm learning a lot about like 3D modeling, and it's just a fun way to like learn skills that are outside of my comfort zone and let it push me there, as opposed to kind of stay within my comfort zone of, just making apps and making frameworks and stuff. And it's very gratifying, right? I mean, people come over and they're like, "Oh, wow, that's really freaking cool. They got these little mushrooms, and they're like they glow. It's kind of neat."
That's awesome. Yeah, and you're talking about 3D printing too, and all that. Like
oh yeah,
yeah. I'm glad you went away from the extension cord running through your yard with all the rain around it.
That would have been really lame. But no, I've gotten I just got a Bamboo Labs H2C, which is like their kind of flagship printer, and it can do crazy stuff. Like I did some laser etching yesterday or a couple days ago onto wood, because my wife, more projects, wanted me to make these crates for like onions and potatoes for the pantry. And I wanted it, like, I don't know if you remember like Peach's Records and Tapes from back in the day. They had these like crates, and they would have like logos on them of like like a farm or whatever. And so I was like, oh man, if I could just like make that with my dog, like have it like the dog potato farm thing with him in there. And it came out super well. Like I used awesome. Nano Banana and Leonardo, and man, like just so cool. It's amazing. You can and then you laser etch it in your garage, and you're like, what can't I do nowadays? It's crazy.
I'm quick backstory. I had a 3D printer, gave it to my brother, just space wise. And I'm at the point where it's like, all right, I want to get a new 3D printer. I'm looking at the P2S, the Bamboo Labs P2S.
Okay, sure.
And I talked to my wife. I was like, hey, so what would you want 3D printed? She's like, I don't need it. I don't need anything 3D printed. I looked at her, I was like, You sure about that? And then as the days go on, the list just keeps growing and growing and growing. Now I have a backlog before I can even get to my 3D printing stuff. So it's like, great.
We've been doing Gridfinity for the kitchen. And that's one thing I have redid our whole, that is time and filament consuming, my friend.
Yeah.
That is a lot.
But it's worth it in the long run, right?
It is. You get all these containers and stuff, and then, so you can kind of mix and match and everything gets organized. And I kind of hoping at a certain point, like it becomes one of those things where it's like, ooh, well, we could probably get rid of that now that we know that we have like 18 whisks. It's like, maybe we can get rid of 2,
Exactly.
That really hasn't happened yet. Yeah. But so now it's like a way, how do you store 18 whisks,
Yeah, that makes sense. Gridfinity didn't get a plan for that.
Gridfinity is real good. What are your wife's other things?
It's just a bunch of random stuff, now with 2 kids, it's like something for the stroller, something like to organize, like the what's it called, the diaper pail that we kind of have in the kids' room. And some stuff for the kitchen too. And like we had our son's birthday the other day at the park, and we did like a dino dig. We kind of hit some dinosaurs in the mulch.
Oh, cute!
And she was like, can you go buy like some rakes, like a shovel for the sand, like beach stuff. Like it's winter, no one has these stuff out. Like, 3D print all this out, and we're done.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazon came through eventually because my brother couldn't 3D print them fast enough. But
plus you want to get like obscure filament if you're going to do that kind of stuff, like the ASA or stuff like that. I actually found locally a couple of vendors, which we were trying to not support Amazon, and so we were looking for local vendors, and I was able to like find a really good like 3D printing supply shop locally that has like all the amazing stuff, like hot ends and things, and it gave me this notion that one way down the road I may actually like build my own 3D printer. I don't know why I would, but like the kind of stuff that they do is like really crazy. They have like one that it like shovels stuff off the build plate when it's done. So like it's like a little factory.
Yeah, you just keep going. Cool. It cleans up after itself. And
you can just like overnight you can have it. If you have like a bunch of small parts, it could be like print one batch, scrape it off, print another batch, scrape it off, and then you get in the morning, and it's like, oh my god,
your garage is full of stuff.
Like your garage is full of whatever these little tchotchkes are until the filament runs out.
I need to get you in touch with Jed here at Infinite Red. He built his 3D printer from scratch. Too, so that would be cool.
Nice.
For our audience, it seems like StreamYard is having a little bit of technical difficulties on getting the chats in, so I can't really put stuff on the screen, but I'll kind of mention it. Robin said, I love having a 3D printer. So many useful things that you can make. We have a Bamboo as well. Seems like everyone's going with Bamboo. They're doing
Bamboo,
the right job.
It was like 3D printing had its moment with like kind of, enthusiasts, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 5-10 years ago. And then Bamboo came along, and Bamboo was like, okay, we're going to make this for like everybody. So that, and the printers kind of like self-diagnose their own issues, and they like cleaned up a lot of things. Like they do this weird like vibration check before they run to get like the resonant frequency of the table and things. And so unlike every other printer I've ever owned, I can pretty much walk away from the Bamboo and just be like, I just know it's going to work. Like I'm just going to come back in an hour or a couple hours, and it's like magic. I mean, it's just sitting there, and it's not even attached to the build plate anymore. It's like it's cool, the build plate, and you just literally just like pick it up, like it's like Star Trek, and it's like the replicator. You're like, where am I living in? This is insane. And I guess it gets up to a whole different level though when you start actually like modeling your own stuff, like using Fusion. We have an issue where going into our bathroom, we got like double doors, and there's no lock, and so the dog is like, okay, I push through this, right, no problem. And so I ended up like building this custom like latching mechanism that would work for humans, not so much for dogs, and that was all absolutely custom modeled. And so you just sort of like get into like And then it's just so cool. It's such a great thing where you like model this thing and it's in your head, and then you hit print. Next thing you know, it's in your hand. You're like, oh my God.
Yeah. And soon, AI is going to make this even easier and more accessible to build this stuff. Like I'll show you guys something.
Put a little caveat in there.
This was actually a custom build.
Oh, okay, cool.
Using AI to kind of get a shelf, so you can kind of tell I have grooves behind me.
Oh, nice.
The grooves are going to fit in here, and they're going to be hidden. So I guess audience, once you see me mount these shelves, you'll know where these came from. 3D printed, all models, and even the AI was like, I'm going to put ridges here. I think you can kind of see that.
Yeah.
So that whatever you put on here is sturdy and won't like slip.
Yeah. So which model did you use for this? Because I found Claude is like not so good with.
It wasn't Claude. No, I don't remember exactly. I did it again. Like I said, I gave the 3D printer to my brother. I was at his house and we did it there.
Okay.
So I'll have to go back and check for you. But yeah. It even like I just gave it the gap in between all of them, and it had the whole screw mounts and all that. So it did a pretty decent job.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I've found with like arty stuff. Like if you want to make like a, I don't know, Funko Pop of yourself or something like that, there's easy models that will handle that. But the parametric stuff where it's like, it has to be 15 millimeters, blah, 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 blah. And it just gets all the orientations wrong. And it's like, like, okay, you kind of finally take the reins after a little while and you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this myself. Thanks.
Yeah. All right. I think we could talk about 3D printing probably all day.
Yeah.
But I think our audience came for something else. So I think before we move on, Jack, can you go ahead and just reintroduce yourself? And kind of one thing I like to always ask is, how did you get to where you're at now? I think for our audience, that's very helpful.
Okay. Well, yeah, I started coding when I was 13 years old, back in the days like the Model 1 TRS-80. So I've been doing this for a long time. And I was dyslexic. I am dyslexic. So I was really having trouble in school and not doing well, and like rote memorization tasks like history and all that. But I found that like systemic thinking, like programming, really worked for my brain. So I ended up like leaning in hard into coding, and it was not as lucrative as it is today, but it was a great, been a great career for me. I've done all kinds of coding, from biosciences work, where I did like high-speed data acquisitions on neuronal cells, to I did social networking over at a company called Ning there for a little while. A bunch of those folks ended up going over to Facebook. Back in the early days of that, I did some e-commerce stuff for like Walmart and HP, and or at Walmart and Nike. Did some security stuff. So I'm kind of bouncing all around all over the industry. And yeah, after a certain while, you also get into, like you get some opinions about like what you like and don't like in terms of platforms and all that. And so, yeah. And now I've also gotten into like now doing libraries and stuff, because I think that my vision of what a library should be kind of roughly aligns with Tanner's idea of what library should be. So it's worked out pretty well.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the show. I'm excited to kind of dig into this episode and move a little bit forward with it. So for our audience, right, TanStack is a large
ecosystem.
It's an ecosystem. That's the best way to put it out.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm actually sharing my screen real quick.
Hit me.
To the documentation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. If we're looking on the left-hand side,
there's a lot.
There's a lot there, right?
There's a lot there.
Zoom in for us.
Yeah.
So these are all basically the different packages you can add to your library, right? This is a React Native show, React Native folks out there. And one thing I kind of want to mention is not all these will technically apply to React Native just yet. Caveat, just yet.
Yeah.
They will.
Router, we're working on that.
Exactly. So there's a lot of rumblings on Twitter with Tanner working on router. So it would be TanStack native router, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's one. Ooh, probably should have done that. Let's go back. Cool. We have Start. Start is basically what we would call, Expo in our world. Your framework to start a React.
And it sits on top of router. So it gives you like file-based routing, API routes, server functions, server-side rendering. Yeah. All that good
exactly.
Stuff.
Yeah. The big one for me specifically from this entire list, one that I use all the time is query. React Query.
Well, that is, I think, our most popular library.
Yeah. And, because it's, full JavaScript able to work on in React, we can use it in React Native.
Yeah.
I love the, one thing I'll mention is like the stale time within your API query. So you kind of have a query trigger refetch on amount of a screen or, amount of that hook. Basically, because the data is now stale. If you're doing e-commerce, this is a good example to see price changes and all that. So very powerful tool out there for you to use.
And I should say, if you have used React Query in the past, that actually is TanStack React Query. Now we just brought it under the TanStack umbrella when TanStack became more than just React Query and React Table.
Yeah.
You need a bigger umbrella for everything.
Yeah.
Oh, and also, exactly. It's kind of a two-dimensional umbrella in that, React Query or Query is sure it's a React query, but it also works on Solid and other frameworks as well. So that's one of the other great things about TanStack is the router, as an example, works on both Solid and on React, and Vue, I think, is in the pipeline as well. So you can, reuse that architecture and those concepts across the different platforms. And I think it's a good testament and it's a good test for frameworks to see how well they work across different platforms.
Nice. Yeah. And, to be very honest, like the documentation, I will say I live in React Query mainly at this point, right? The documentation.
Or Claude does, both of you together.
Someone does. Yeah. Someone does. Yeah. Whoever's feeding me the information. The documentation is very good. The type safety, in my opinion, is like the best. And that takes it to a whole other level. And I think
and that's a through line throughout all of TanStack stuff.
Yes.
Is that it's very, very, very type safe.
Perfect. Yeah. One we'll talk about in a little bit is AI. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
That's your
my baby.
Your bread and butter. Yeah.
My baby. Yeah.
And then form. Form is actually one that I think,
I think it's really cool. Coming from the world of like a Nike and the Walmart experience, right? You want all your forms to have exactly the same, all the input fields are handled the same way, all the, the drop downs and all that. And you want them styled the same way. And that's one of the really cool like innovations, I think, of TanStack Form, is that it allows you to create basically a style guide of bound elements, right? You can create a text element that's styled well, that connects into the form infrastructure. So all you need to do then is wire it up into your data, and it just works, which is amazing, because other form libraries, like you see these just massive JSX blobs where it's like, okay, we're going to wrap this material UI component in this form tag, right? And so you get this just huge MUI thing inside of each form, and it's just replicated, boom, 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 all the way down the line. And that's a maintenance nightmare, right? What happens when you want to go and change how those text inputs look across all of your properties? Oh, good luck with that, man. That basically just like let Claude rip on it and pay the bill later,
This is one that I'm currently working on putting together a POC for my client to transition our forms over to.
Yeah.
And, I mean, again, like I mentioned, just looking at it, we'll look at the basic concept first, because it kind of shows you how to put it together. Setting up your types, you set up your hook, on submit, what happens, your options for validation specifically, and then you set up your fields. And I think it's simple. That's it, really. And then, you have this ESLint rule that you have there for validations. If you want to do a spinner as you're submitting and whatnot. And then for React Native specifically, there's really not much. The only quote unquote difference is we're using text, of course, and text input. So you can. So what I'm doing with this is this text input is its own custom component. It's leveraged, but then it all reacts to it based on how the users, you can see the validators there. So an on change, which is pretty cool, because you're listening to that input change within it. So another well-written library that's really,
and again,
it easy.
The through line, type safe, end to end, and also works on multiple frameworks. So again, you get the through line that works through every single TanStack library is always type safe, always works across multiple vendors. And what I was talking about was under the form composition section under guides, there is a section in there on how to basically create a text field that is kind of bound into this use app form hook. And then from then on, like your use of you form.app field and there or in form.text field. And then when you want to change the look and feel of that text field, then you just change it in one spot and it changes everywhere and you're good. Oh. Yeah, it's freaking great, dude.
That is good. Yeah.
That is huge. Like you can make and you can go and make yourself a what's the playbook, whatever that is, like the
storybook.
Storybook. That's it. I'm so close. Yeah. You could make a storybook full of those fields and then get your PM to be like, oh, okay, boy, that's blah. And then it's the same everywhere. And it also reduces code size, right? You're not getting those just huge, MUI blobs or whatever it is inside of your form, and it makes it really hard to like differentiate between like, okay, well, there's a horizontal rule in here somewhere. Line 18,052.
Yeah, and then the designers come up with their ruler up on the screen. They're like, "Wait, this is not. This doesn't really line up."
Oh my god!
Sorry, designers, if you're in the audience.
Yeah, love you always. Yeah.
To the audience, if there's any of these, outside of form and query that you all are using within your React Native apps, please comment. Let us know what they are, and we'll kind of talk a little bit about them.
I'll try. But my two biggest areas, the way that I got into TanStack actually was basically through the CLI. So, was like I'd say 2025, I guess. Chris, like for beginning of the year, I was like, okay, so resolution, get more into open source, because I was doing videos in front of green screens and stuff, and I'm like, this is all cool, but I don't like talk to anybody besides like people who want me to show stuff on my channel. And I wanted to make something, use my real like engineering skills for stuff. And so I wanted to get an open source, and I was like, well, who do I want to work with? Well, I want to work with Tanner. So like I pinged Tanner, I'm like, how can I help? And he's like, and it didn't really, it was like documentation, that kind of thing. And then with the React team was like, okay, we're going to get rid of CRA. I'm like, ooh, whoa, that's a big deal. So like, what are we going to replace it with? And they're like, well, Vite. I'm like, yeah, but Vite doesn't actually give you the same thing, right? If you have a tutorial out there that uses Create React App, then like a novice engineer is going to like try with Vite and be like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. So I was talking to Tanner. I'm like, hey, they're going to do this on Monday. If we came out with like a Create TanStack app that would create essentially exactly the same layout, but on the TanStack router as opposed to the CRA setup. And and he was like, oh yeah, go for it. And so I went for it. And this is actually before like really, boy, that's only been a year ago. The agentic coding thing kind of took off. So I, hand code most of the stuff. And it blew up because people were like, oh yeah, this is good. And the underpinnings were good. Like you're on React router. And the really cool thing was, you could start with this and then add on start and add on server functions and add on API routes, which is something you could never do with Create React App. You could do this weird thing where you could like hack Create React App and then add on stuff. And I was like, no, that's crazy. But this gave you a really nice complexity arc of being able to go from, just a basic kind of SPA all the way up to an SSR application with modern stuff on it. And you didn't have to eject. You didn't have to get rid of all your old code. It just sort of linearly went up. And so I was like, hey, this is great. And so I ended up like, most of that year was spent adding on extra add-ons onto that. So like you could add on Clerk, and you could add on, all our libraries, and then we would have cool examples and all that. And so that's basically become what Builder is. So if you go over to tanstack.com/builder, you can go build your own app based on essentially that work.
Still sharing? I don't think so. Here, I'll come back.
Yeah,
up. Here we go. Builder.
Yeah, Builder.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it'll actually, it should actually give you a preview. Look at that. It's got the preview going on. It's all kinds of good stuff. So yeah,
that's pretty cool,
right? Yeah. And now Tanner's kind of taken the lead on that, and he's got a really good vision for that kind of stuff. It's like he's very customer centric. Of okay, we want templates, so we're going to want kits, and so think of it like a T3 builder kind of thing. It just gives you a starting point that is great, and that was fantastic. And then right around the time of React Conf, I was like, you know what? We should do an AI library. And so I pitched Tanner on it, and he's like, okay, yeah, let's go. And I actually, it was like, before I even did that, I just want this stuff to go, right? So I want to make sure that TanStack is well funded and has all so I'm always thinking like how to do vendor relationships and all that kind of stuff too. And I was like, oh man, AI. Like, I think if we could play like the neutral party in an AI landscape, like that would be really beneficial for the whole ecosystem. Like, we don't have a service, we don't have anything. We're just going to give you tools to help you make AI enabled applications across all the platforms in a type safe way, the standard TanStack thing, because we're really good at managing libraries. And I fired up Claude and said like, hey, let's make it like make an AI library. Here's my ideas. And like within a couple hours, we had the basic underpinnings of that. And then that sort of became over time what we then released as TanStack AI.
So I guess let's dig into it. We'll talk about AI, kind of go through your demo, what you have for us, and then kind of want to have a little bit of a chat at the end about router and native router, what's coming there and the future of that. So
to the extent that I know that, I mean,
correct. Yeah, exactly.
Give it a go. Yeah.
Exactly. I think, the big thing is Tanner's been tweeting a lot about it. And
well, Tanner's very good with that.
Usually
it's weird. I'm a YouTuber. I'm supposed to be good at that kind of thing, but I'm so bad at it. It's terrible.
Here, I'll share my screen. Cool. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Yeah. So TanStack AI. So the premise is basically illustrated by this animation here, which has, if you're listening to this alone, it's got on the top end, it's got the TanStack AI client, which is a vanilla client that then is then kind of packaged up for React and Solid and Vue and Preact. And I mean, the list has grown since since we created this graphic. And then on the back end, that TanStack AI client connects to essentially TanStack AI, which wraps your different vendors. So like your Ollama, if you want to have local models, or Anthropic, Gemini, maybe handle Grok and Grok. The two different Groks. We're going to get into real-time chatting here with 11 Labs. So you have all that. And then one of the really cool value adds that is unique, very unique to TanStack, is that we can handle multiple different server backends. So instead of just having TypeScript and Node or Hano or Next.js or whatever you want to do there, you can also use PHP or Python. We still have to go and get into that community and really promote it. But what we wanted to do was we wanted to release AI pretty early and start getting feedback on it, and that's been pretty successful. We released it, and then we got almost immediate feedback that we were our chunking format, which is, so if you don't know how AI works, so basically let's just talk about chatting, because that's really what most people want to do. You send off a request to the server. Here's the message stream as it was. Here's the context. Here's the next user prompt. Go and give us, some whatever the AI sends back. And you don't want to wait. So the AI streams back these chunks, right? And they're all unique to each vendor, has different chunking formats, and the chunks would include things like, okay, here's some more characters, maybe here's the start of a tool call, that kind of thing. And we would then create our own internal chunk format to then normalize that and send that up to the client. But that was a TanStack unique thing, right? We didn't know that there was anything out there that was like, oh, chunking, here's a chunk format that everybody supports. And it turns out there's this AGUI thing, and it is a agnostic, it is essentially that chunking format, but actually formalized into like, here's how the chunk structure should be. And the really cool thing about that is that now since we ported to that, which is not a big deal, our TanStack AI client, if you write for that, like you could connect to, let's say you had a Go backend that would do this AGUI thing, no problem. I mean, we'll see, right? All those things, like it's all very new. So of course there's going to be bugs and all that. But vice versa as well. So if you've got like a TanStack AI server, and you've got, I don't know, you've got a React Native client up on the top end that handles these AGUI chunks, and you want to use that as opposed to using our TanStack AI client, which you could do, by the way, in React Native, then you could use that. So I think it's great, and again, we're the only library vendor out there doing that. So we're trying to just be really impactful in the ecosystem.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I know, kind of talking e-commerce wise, I think I've kind of alluded that's the client I'm currently working on, in a sense. We've floated the idea of a chat within our app to speak to an AI of sorts that will give you the information that you need based on your transaction, the items within that are available for you to purchase within it. So this is a perfect example of how you would leverage it, right?
Exactly.
Like, hey, what's going on with my order? And it would check your order and be like, your order needs to be shipped or whatever, should be ready.
And it knows you because you log in, so you have the auth state. And then you can do stuff like, well, I bought that, but are there other things that I would want? And then you have a full conversation with it, and it's like, oh no, maybe you want this over here. And that was actually the first demo that we did, because I'm again, e-commerce background, right? And coming out of Nike, this was like what they really want to do, this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I'm into guitar now, or I want to get into guitars. And so I had AI generate a bunch of random looking guitars, and the first demo was a guitar store. So the AI, you'd send off the request, hey, what's a good acoustic guitar? And then you also send along a list of tools along with your request. And that lets the AI know that like, oh, okay, well, if I want to recommend the guitar, there's this recommend guitar tool. And then I don't actually implement that, but I can reference that. I have the inputs, I have the outputs, and let's say that I'm asking for a good acoustic guitar, and it comes back with this like tool call, and that tells the client then to actually just display a big poster of that, guitar. Like if that's what you want to do, is recommend guitar, whatever you want to do, and maybe put like a buy button in the order. And so it's really, and of course, TanStack AI handles all that. It handles normalizing the tool calls, handles running the tool calls, handles, and all you got to do is just say, okay, this is a client tool call, which meaning that the tool is actually going to run on the client, or if this is a server tool call, meaning the server actually runs on that runs on the server. In the case of our e-commerce stuff, right, you may have a get previous orders tool that would run on the server, and that would allow the AI to figure out what did you purchase from us before, and maybe it calls that before it calls the client tool to recommend something new, because maybe, hey, you already ordered an acoustic guitar, or whatever, right? And so really hyper personalize your experience to you. So just all kinds of cool stuff you can do with it. It's like, whoa, why you been doing this coding stuff for so long? And it's like, but it's just getting better and better and better.
Every day you wake up, there's something new, and there's something different.
And the funny thing is, like, people are now experiencing what I've experienced for so many times in my past, which is, you get, I don't know why, but management always wants to get rid of all the engineers. I mean, maybe we stink, or I don't know, maybe we, whatever, didn't play football or whatever. They want to get rid of all the engineers. And so they always come with like, oh no, this is the new technology that's going to get rid of all the engineers. You know, it's going to be like some random thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and now it's like, oh yeah, we got AI. It's going to replace all the engineers. You know, and what do? Well, we make OpenClaw, man. Like we go and use your technology against you and make all kinds of cool stuff with it. And then what happens? There's more engineers. You need more engineers, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's the end of the day. What's going to happen with all of this is that the engineering will change, right? But you're still going to need people to actually understand what the code is that's being generated, how it deploys, how it works, all that kind of stuff. And nothing's going to get you around to that. Like, yeah, you can go and use these AI code generators to build your site, but it's a vulnerability waiting to happen.
You have the context, right? I know there's the context you need to give the AI, but you have that core context that the AI, you might be able to explain it and tell the AI about that context, but it'll never really truly get that context because you have it, right?
It will run into a ditch, right? At a certain point, you'll find that like, Claude, no matter how many times you prompted to do X, Y, or Z, just won't be able to get past a certain thing. And that's when you actually have to like get your hands dirty, get in there, take a look at what it did, and then sort it all out, commit it because now it works, and then go back in and make sure that it doesn't mess it up again.
So you told me you had a little bit of like a demo just to show this off.
Yeah. So okay, this is cutting edge stuff here. So we are going to be bringing out this thing called code mode. So code mode, like I mentioned tools before. So let's just take here's an example of a shoe catalog. Wonder where that came from. And let me ask, I want the average cost of our shoes. So I'm going to ask regular tools. This is like the standard system. Like, how's that going to work? Hold on. I may have shut down my. Yes. Sorry. You see live demos, man. Like, what are you going to do? Average cost, regular tools, go. Okay. So he's going up, and you can see him. He's going off and getting he's firing all kinds of tools because the output here is really crappy. This is like one of those old school REST APIs. It's, hey, I want to get a product list page. I'm going to give it my page ID or my page number, and it's going to give me back just shoe IDs, right? Okay. But I don't get cost, and so I need to go and literally get every single one of those one by one, right? To actually go and get all of that. So this is what would happen. Yeah, get all 20, and then supposedly come up with an average cost, which according to this is $136.75. We shall see if that's the case. Okay, and then you got all this garbage in here, kind of proof of work kind of stuff. What is that? That's craziness. Okay, so now let's try code mode. So code mode is actually giving the AI a new type of tool, or just a new tool, actually, called execute JavaScript. And then execute JavaScript actually runs an isolate. So it actually runs a little JVM, a JavaScript VM inside of the server at this point. And that there's a bunch of different options that you have in there. You can use Cloudflare, you can use Quick.js. I think this is running another one. We'll get there in a second. And it basically generates TypeScript code. And you can see it calling these external get product page list. And so what I've done is I've told code mode, hey, I'm going to give you a custom set of tools. And that it's basically the same set of tools as before, but like now you can run them from inside of that isolate. And instead of just doing one by one twosie thing, it basically just writes TypeScript to go and get the product page, get all the other product pages in a for loop, get all the products in, and it promised that all. And then it ran that. And you can see that down here. You can see all the tool invocations and that kind of stuff. But that all happened in the isolate. And then it outputs whatever the output is. And so the output in this case is just the total number of products, the average price, $137. Oh, yeah. Well, I will trust this more because LLMs are bad at math, right? So not only did this, take forever, but it also messed up. So you get all the revenue, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so you can see kind of the play-by-play over here of the the total number of LLM calls. So it's 2 for code mode, where it's 4 with regular tools. The context, which is basically how much money you spend, because the context is tokens, and the tokens are what actually costs. Tiny 1.8 kilobytes in comparison to 10 kilobytes just in this one little example.
Yeah.
And then faster. It's 6 seconds versus 15 seconds.
More than half.
Yeah. And then it even gets better. So we've got an additional library called Skills. And what Skills allows you to do is kind of add on to this. And then it allows the code mode to actually decide, hey, I think this is a valuable bit of TypeScript that I just created. So just take that and just store it away somewhere, right? And so now as the app developer, I need to understand like how to store it. Maybe it goes in a database per user, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't care about that, but it's like, hey, here's some stuff you want to store. And so let's try running code mode again. It's going to basically do the same thing. And then it's going to say, oh, well, cool. I'm going to go register that as a skill for next time. And now if I come, so I can go over here to skills, I can see that now I've got the skill get average shoe price that it's created for itself, right? I'll refresh the page. I'll try it again. And now I'll hit code mode. And now, oops, sorry. Let me go and make sure that I'm doing that with the skills. Got to get those skills on there. Code mode. And now it's going to say, oh, I got this.
I already have it.
So two LLM calls, a half a K of context, 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. So it gets better and better and better. And you think about, okay, so I could have that skill system on like an LRU cache, that kind of thing, or it just gets really cool, really, really fast. And so this is that's just kind of our basic sort of 2 side-by-side demo there. And then to kind of drill into how this is actually working, this is a demo, maybe more of a chat. And so here at this point, we've given it access to like GitHub and NPM and some utility stuff. And we've also been able to specify what kind of isolate VM we want to use for this. And then now you can kind of see it play by play over here as it actually makes those calls, and it's firing stuff back to the UI that's then rendered. So, I'm just really, really excited about this. This is like my favorite thing. Yeah. And code mode was something that Cloudflare talked about a while ago. And so that's kind of how it initially started percolating around my brain. And then I started adding this on, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like, this is actually taking LLMs to the next level. So what do you think?
I love it. I mean, you showed a lot here real quick.
Yeah, no. It's very overwhelming. It's kind of like, whoa, okay. Yeah.
And so just to confirm, this is all built off of TanStack AI. So everything that we saw earlier, the AI client. And then,
it's all built on top of that. Yeah. So that's the base layer. And then this is just 2 libraries so far that sit, well, actually a couple, more than 2 libraries, like 5 libraries that sit on top of it. There's the code mode core, and then there's different isolate drivers, one for each system. So that, the isolated VM versus QuickJS. So you can, or Cloudflare workers, however you want to deploy it. And then there's one more that gives you the skills access. That manages skills, and then you decide where those skills go and do all that stuff. But there's no extra, like I'm working on the PR right now. We laid the underpinnings of it, last month, and now this month we're gonna end up rolling this out. It's just so cool. I'm so excited. Cool. Yeah.
And you get to see the data there too. And I saw you that little pop-up that you had there.
Yeah, so originally my side-by-side demo was this TanStack AI code mode demo versus the uncode moded version of it.
Yeah.
And I just found that it was just a little bit overwhelming, like this one is a little bit easier to grok. It's like, okay, I'm only talking to one API, and it's the kind of API that LLMs don't like, right? So if you go back here, this is so often the question for people. It's like, how do I connect my LLM with my data, right?
Yeah.
And so often we have these god-awful REST APIs where it's like, okay, you got to get a whole page, and then you got to make it's the N+1 problem, essentially. Yeah, you get that. And So the classic LLM fix for that is that you have to now go and write a new tool that does the N+1 search inefficiently and then returns some data, right? And now, so you're now writing extra stuff so you can interface with the LLMs. This is, what if we didn't do that? What if we just gave the LLMs essentially direct access, not direct access, but access through these proxied tools safely to the non-performant REST APIs without anything, and then they just figure out how they want to make those calls, and they write the code for those tools, and it just works. And the cool thing is it self-heals. Oh, and that's another cool thing. If you give it something that, like, because it's TypeScript, and we inject the type signatures of those internal tools, we actually check the TypeScript before we run it. And so you'll see the LLM being like, oh, I didn't get the typing right there. Hold on. Let me go again. And it'll fix it up and try again.
I love how it talks to you.
And it self-heals. It's so cool. And it's like, yes, this makes sense. It's like Haiku, Sonnet, Opus. These talk code. Yeah. And like what you're having it do when you have it talk in these kind of regular tools is not ideal for an LLM, right? You want to see the LLM as an orchestrator, not an executor. And so actually, I think there's a little byline down here that's like, LLMs write the program. They don't, and pardon my they don't be the program. Yeah. Pardon my bad English there, but like that's the point, right? You don't. LLMs don't do math well. Did it get the answer wrong again? Wow! Average price now up to 160, 143.
Yeah, it changed.
It changed again. I'll run this 5 times. It'll maybe get the answer right like once. Yeah, that's
funny. Yeah, and then to do better.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and actually doing this has given me a lot more insight into the proper use of LLMs, because like we should not be having LLMs do math. We should not be having LLMs necessarily do, decision-making work, that kind of thing. Okay, they're really good at writing code, at interpreting text, what you want, and writing code from that, and then in this case now executing that code.
Yeah, fair enough. And then could you go back to the chat one?
Yeah, sure.
I guess just kick off one of it. Yeah.
Kick it off. What are the hottest React state management libraries? So now it's generating that TypeScript code, making all these requests, and it's also firing off these custom events that are then telling the UI to go and add on these like cards over here.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I think for me and listeners kind of looking at this, you basically built what honestly looks like a chat, what we're used to these days, ChatGPT stream of asking it a question, it going out, doing the research, speaking to you, and then showing it to you, all with TanStack. And that's amazing.
Okay, well,
TanStack should be higher. TanStack React Query should be higher on that list, though.
But you haven't seen the best part.
Oh, okay. There's more.
Yeah, there is actually more. Yeah, actually. So there's this thing, dynamic report. So I'll fire this up. And okay, cool. So you give it a bunch of tools, internal tools that would allow it to go and execute, like make NPM stuff. But what if you also gave it tools to make UI?
Wow. Okay. Let's see. That's awesome.
That's freaking awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
It's literally building this whole report on the fly.
Graph. Yeah.
I mean, I apologize for the bad UI there on the.
It's not accessible, but that's fine.
Not accessible, but yeah. But I mean, that's great. That was just a click of a button. Right. And all I did was just give it basically some UI primitives and say, hey, go make a UI. And then there it goes. Literally designed a UI on the fly for me. It's bonkers. Wow. Yeah. It's so cool. Yeah.
That is, and so what is this using from the TanStack ecosystem?
All the AI stuff.
All the AI stuff.
TanStack. Well, I mean, it's all Start. So it's using the app here is actually a Start-based app. And so it's using
with file-based routing.
With file-based routing and the API layer to do full-on streaming. So we have a really nice integration there. You can use SSE streams, you can use HTTP streams because it's TanStack Start. You can also wrap that in a server function if you want, or you can use an API endpoint if you want. That's 100% symmetric. So no, everything in here is built on a router and then Start on top of that on the server side.
Yeah.
TanStack AI on the back end. And I think we use like ShadCN for the components. Yeah.
I mean, that's important to highlight, right? That this is the TanStack ecosystem is a one-stop shop to build tools like this.
And
from the React Native perspective, there's a little, we have to pull from certain scenarios to kind of make it happen. But it almost sounds like with router and all that, that might be different in the future. So but this is just great, all living within the ecosystem. And it's pretty impressive.
Yeah. And I think again, from the native side, you can use TanStack AI for the client. And then also on the server, like if you got an Expo server, as long as you can marshal the HTTP stream or the SSE stream, we have not hard bound it to TanStack, but it's just really easy within TanStack. We are starting to think about the confluence of Start and AI and DB, which is another one that's very, very cool, which is not what the name might suggest, a DB wrapper, like a
database.
What's a couple like Drizzle or one of those?
No,
it's a real-time database adapter. So think like Firebase without being directly connected to Firebase. So it'll give you like those real-time subscriptions, and then you can put on the back end. You can back end it up with any kind of stuff you want. Like it could be, Oracle or whatever. As long as you can get a real-time stream out of it, then it normalizes that and can give you a nice real-time UI. And so, what combination of those tools can we put together to make it like a really cool, like Start plus AI plus DB? I mean, you start to think about it, it gets really cool, really fast.
Yeah. I'm sure you're probably thinking of like what all you could do if you're back at Nike with all these tools. So
Well, right now I'm at Netlify actually. So, it's really what Netlify can do with all of it. And we are going to be releasing some stuff that uses TanStack Start, which is great.
That's
and
awesome.
Also AI, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Cool. What's another demo? I feel like this next demo is going to be even more.
It could be.
Dynamic
UI. Dynamic UI. So one of the things that I got into like thinking about when I first heard about LLMs was, what I really want from an LLM is, back in the old like Star Trek Next Generation days, I kind of geeked out on the whole like UI of the Enterprise. And as it turns out, like if you're truly geeky, you know that like Worf's setup is specific to Worf. Like Worf shows up and the UI changes for him for his workstation. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's what I want. I want a system where it's like I just talk to it and it's like I want a thing that does, makes a button that does X, right? And what if I had that in my banking app? I could just like talk to my banking app and be like, I want to watch pork bellies, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. I'll make you a dashboard, an interactive dashboard based on pork bellies. And you can like hit a button and buy pork bellies or sell pork bellies or whatever it is you want to do. And I was like, oh, okay, well, what if we had that? Like, what? Okay, so let me just give it a try. So I'm going to go and hit add a button to transfer $10 from checking to savings. So it's going to go and add a button to my dashboard. And then I click on that button and it actually does stuff. It actually does that transfer.
Yeah.
And these UI elements subscribe, and this the UI element actually does actions. And what it's doing, sorry, I didn't want to, my cough there.
You're good.
Okay. So what it's doing is when it sends off that external report button request, is it puts in some additional TypeScript for handlers like onPress here, and that in turn is run by that isolate VM later on at any time, right? So we can reuse the fact that we have this isolate VM and actually run it outside of the context of the LLM conversation itself, which is, again, really, really cool. And because we essentially have that way of injecting tools into it, we can create this kind of like persistent system. And again, really, really cool. So it kind of like one thing sort of builds on another. It's like, okay, you start off with something very simple, like, okay, we just want to make our AI more efficient and, get around issues with LLMs, like making too many tool calls, and then we start getting in, then, okay, now we've got that nailed down, but what can we do with that? And that's when you get into like dynamic reports and like, okay, well, that's creating like a static output of this thing. What if we made it dynamic? And so it's sort of like one thing builds on another, and you're out on a run. You're like, oh my God, this would be so cool. But this is basically as far as I pushed it. And this is as far as I'm going to push it for this initial kind of super alpha release of this.
Yeah. And that's also something important to highlight, right? TanStack AI is still in alpha. So,
yeah.
To listeners, what you saw here, blew my mind, and it's just the beginning, right? There's beta, then there's your V1 release, I assume at that point, and then there's a lot more to come from that.
So we just want impassioned people to be able to come in and give advice. Like, I mean, I don't know what I don't know about all this stuff. I mean, I'm not an AI expert by any stretch, but I do know what customers want. And so I'm always kind of, I don't know if do you ever watch a show called *Halt and Catch Fire*?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's a great show. It's basically kind of like a riff on like Steve Jobs and, the whole evolution of the microcomputer and all that. And the Steve Jobsian character had a line where he said, technology isn't the thing. It's the thing that helps you get to the thing. And I've always looked at like LLMs and AI as like, that's not the thing. It's like, what can we do with this stuff that like really helps me as a human, like handle my world better, or, take and put time back on my plate, from not having to deal with X, Y, or Z. And so I think that's what I help. That's my North Star when it comes to the TanStack AI stuff, is more like that's applied awesome. AI.
Yeah. So let's kind of close off here before we get into our final segment.
Yeah.
I want to ask you what's next. So we've seen, and you've kind of shown us some of the capabilities of TanStack AI. What's coming next? What's the future look like?
Wow. I think we wait and adapt a little bit. Like, so we get the real-time stuff out there. That's in the can, needs to be released. Get code mode out there, and we just kind of see what's next from there. Code mode is such an innovation that I don't know if we can know what people are going to do with it. And that's an exciting place to be. So I'm just excited for that.
It's just the beginning of it. Yeah.
And
there's a lot of capabilities within TanStack for React Native developers. And this AI one, I think, is important to see how, React Native developers can leverage the client and use that. And even on the backend side, like you mentioned, that is just ideal there.
And also, I neglected to mention that there's a bunch of extra stuff on top of just chatting. It's not just about chatting and text generation. You can use it to generate video, audio, text to speech, speech to text. We do the whole multimodal thing.
Yeah. I mean, what you showed off is a little bit different and more practical, like getting the average price of your shoes, right? That's just something that's something that you can eventually adapt, right, to give you more real-time information to your listeners, which is great. Or even your users specifically.
Right.
That's awesome.
And you can think of running these things in, now that we laying so hard in the OpenClaw world, right? This stuff can be run in a batch. It can be run in response to triggers. Like, hey, it's like I have an OpenClaw that goes off and searches for articles for my content. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Have you used OpenClaw at all?
I've started to.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to use it to like run off and do like my like the assistant, like be the assistant, right? Like, hey, go out and find for me, like, I want to go to, you know, our local baseball team, the Durham Bulls. I want to go to a couple of games with my son, you know.
Yeah.
Here's his bedtime schedule, school schedule, you know, check the calendar for conflicts, but what games should we go to? Sort of thing. So I've started like kind of messing around with stuff like that, specifically with trying to be like, okay, these are the games we can make. Look at the different packages that are available. Is it better to buy a package versus buy the games individually? Like, do all that, right? That's all something that I'm going to have to sit down at some point, pull up, you know.
And this is like just AAA ball, AA ball,
AAA, yeah,
AAA,
yeah. The Durham Bulls. If you've heard of the movie Bull Durham, based on the same.
Oh, that's the one.
Team. Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Stadium still exists. They play high school and club play there on that stadium. But then they got a bigger stadium now, and we go to their games quite a bit. It's opening season, it starts soon, actually, in a couple.
I know. We are looking forward to the Portland Pickles season, and the Portland Pickles they're not a AAA team. They are a college summer league, and we get into it. Like,
nice.
My God, Portland loves these guys, and it's really fun because it's not any like we have a AAA ball team, and they're out in like Beaverton somewhere, and the stadium's big. This is like in a local like soccer field like stadium thing, and it's like 2 bleachers, and it's so much, but it's so much fun. And you know, we've got, you know, we got season tickets, and we're just. I love
that's awesome.
It's great.
Yeah. We're doing the same thing. My son just started T-ball and stuff like that, so he's
nice.
Kind of getting into all that. So
awesome. So OpenClaw, like I came up with a really cool automation just recently, actually. So I have Obsidian for my note taking, and I always have in there like just random ideas for YouTube channel, YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever. And so now I can just literally, I'll be, I don't know, whatever, in a movie, go out to go pee or whatever, and I'll like drop a new note in the specific folder and be like, oh, I think maybe an idea, maybe a video on blah 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 blah, right? And OpenClaw will pick that up and actually run Opus on it to go and take that idea and create like 3 video ideas with a thumbnail, a title, you know, a description, the whole thing, and augment that original idea automatically, right? It's super cool. And somebody was talking to me about like, you know, but you're not going to follow those. I'm like, no, but that's not the point, right? The point is like more like ideation. It's like, you know, when you're stuck, you're just like, oh, you know, what will be an interesting angle on it? And it's kind of like, okay, you know,
Do you know the Shortcuts app on your Mac or your...
Oh yeah.
So I've been using and leveraging that for quite a while now. And I'm slowly
looking at the phone.
It's correct. Cool. Like I have one that runs for me every morning at like 7 a.m. and just sends me a text, weather, checks my calendar for conflicts, and just kind of gives me a summary of what to expect that day.
That's great. I love that. Yeah.
And now the plan is, you know, get rid of it off of my device, because every now and then it'll fail. Like it couldn't get weather or something.
Yeah.
Move that over to OpenClaw. So kind of do a little bit of those. And then I have one that runs weekly, but will only notify me if something goes wrong. Well, it's like it checks inbox for our school newsletter.
Oh, nice.
And then it checks the calendar, and it's like, hey, you know, you have this deadline, but you don't have a reminder. I'm going to create a reminder for you and do stuff along those lines. So
the joys of
it's endless. The limits are endless right there.
But that's the thing. Like what you've done is essentially offloaded a bunch of your like mental cognition around like, oh wait, hold on, it's Sunday, I gotta go do something. What was that thing? I gotta go check about the school, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, just handled. Just handled. It was great. And so I use OpenClaw very similarly. I have it send me at 6 a.m. a daily guitar practice where it's like, okay, here's a strumming pattern, you know, and I'll integrate that into my practice for the day. Or I also have it. When I was a kid, I started reading tarot cards for my friends, and so it'll send me a little tarot reading every morning, like, and it's just fun because it's like, you know, that's a fun thing to like, you know, whatever. And again, you know, the articles and And that's just it. I think it's great. I initially was like, oh, I don't know. I don't really need a personal assistant. I've architected my life not to have a personal assistant. But then now that I think about it, it's like, well, but I do things. I am my own little cron job. What if I just didn't do that? What if I had like a computer just actually do my cron jobs for me, but in an intelligent way? And like, how much can? And so I've really started like automating a lot of stuff in my life. Like I just recently set up an IMMICH server on my Mac Studio where that just handles all my images. So I gave up my old photo repository, and now on my Sony, when I take pictures on my Sony and I'm home, like literally it just FTPs the images over to image, and then by the time that I get back to my desk, they're there. And awesome. I've been thinking about like, what can I do beyond that, right? Where I can actually have it go and rate the images and say, oh, well, that one's blurry, just get rid of it or whatever. Or like, and I actually did this a while ago, have it like kind of give me advice on it. Like, oh, well, that was good, but you could have done a little bit better on your aperture, like give it a little more depth of field, like do more of a, kind of counterweight, like add on some negative space there, that kind of thing, like that's stuff cool. Like that. Right? Like how cool is that?
Your personal coach.
Oh, it's very helpful for that. Like I took some pictures of my dog that I thought were super arty, and I was like, oh man, I'm really good now. And it was like, oh yeah, space balance could be a little. I see where you're going, and this is good, but you could do better. Yeah.
I love that. Awesome. Well, all right. I see we're kind of getting at time.
Are there questions?
Before we close out, no, we didn't get. I think it's because we got we weren't able to get the questions kind of come through, and we lost that feed there. But that's all right.
That's okay.
Before we close off, I like to kind of wrap up with a rapid fire.
Hit me.
You ready?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
All right. What music or song do you like to listen to while you're coding?
Classical a lot.
Classical.
Weirdly. Yeah.
One that's polarizing. Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
No. Tried it. I actually have tried it. And I'm just not a pineapple fan. My wife did sweet and sour pork last night, and she's like, "Oh, I love the pineapple." I'm like, I think to myself, no, I don't know. I'm not.
I like it on sweet and sour. I agree. Yeah.
I don't. I'm just like, there's something about the texture of pineapple. There's something about the texture of olives that I just don't like either. I love olive oil. Can't handle olives. Yeah.
Okay. What's your favorite recent movie or TV show?
Well, Dune's been getting a lot of play lately, which is not super recent. What did I watch? Well, I've been watching so much. That's the crazy thing, right? Yeah. Hold on here. I'm going to fire up my Plex and see. No, whatever. Apple TV stuff. I gotta say, like anything on Apple TV is pretty much guaranteed to be a good time.
For All Mankind.
Oh, love that show. Although, I hope they don't bring that dude back though. Like they were bringing him back like season by season by season. Like,
we'll see.
It's okay if you retire characters. Really. Oh my God. What was the oh man, that space opera that they have on that show, the Isaac Asimov show,
on Apple TV.
Yeah, Apple TV, Isaac Asimov, Foundation.
Oh
my God,
that's a good one.
Wow, like season 3 on that was a straight ripper. Really good. Okay, sorry, rapid fire.
No, you're good. So, is there a product that you recently discovered that you really loved, whether it's an app, kitchen, or home gadget?
Ooh. Actually, thanks for the thought on kitchen gadgets. My wife got this like juicer thing with like these 2 paddles, and we've never had a juicer that like got it. I mean, it gets everything out of limes, lemons, and it's amazing. And the funny thing was, like, we kind of both looked at it and like, oh yeah, this guy 3D printed this thing before he because it's kind of a weird contraption. It kind of. But it works. Oh my God, does it work? It's so good. Yeah. And also, kind of in that vein, I've been doing a lot of Gridfinity stuff lately. So this is 3D printing, but there's an open standard called Gridfinity you can use, and a lot of folks use this in their kitchens for creating like customized bins. So if you're like one of those people who go like, oh man, the contain I can, spend crazy amounts of money at the Container Store. This is for you. So the container store is going to have containers of set sizes, right? You're not going to be able to create, a container specific to spatulas, right? But you can go and like measure out your spatulas and build a grid container box that is literally perfect for that. And you can even put like a little label on there and 3D print, little labels if you want to go for it. And it can be whatever color you want. And it's just so good. And, like our junk drawer is a junk drawer no more. And actually like you can go find, like, I need a AAA battery. It's like, okay, there is one, and it's here.
Exactly.
That kind of thing.
I wonder how the Container Store is doing now with 3D printers.
I
love that place.
I do love that place, and I think they're doing fine. I mean, it's 3D printing is still one of those things where you'll find you go to a party or whatever, and then there'll be like one person who's like, oh yeah, 3D printing, and then you get like a little cluster of maybe like 2 or 3 people that are like, oh yeah, have you seen this? Have you seen this? Yeah. Like I recently did like my entire workstation stuff in what's called underwear, which is a 3D printable standard for doing like under surface of standing desk cable mounting kind of stuff.
Okay.
And pretty awesome, like hard to complain. And it's all free, right? And that's Oh, the funny thing about 3D printing though is there's definitely like this whole, I don't know if you've seen this, but we go to farmers markets every time there's one available, really. And man, like my farmers market now has like 4 different booths that are like bamboo booths. It's all just 3D printed dragons and fidget spinners and stuff. And it's like all I know exactly what these guys are doing. They're going to like the bamboo store, they buy their model for $12.99, and then they print they print it in a gazillion colors, and there you go. Just fire it off to the farm.
Right. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone just starting out in, let's just say, AI?
Really start from the application first, right? Start from what you want to build, and then go back, walk backwards into learning about the LLMs and how they all work and what's good for what. And also let AI guide you. The really cool thing about Claude and GPT, they know the AI world really, 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 really well. So they can write AI code really well. They can use it. They know what the models are. They can go do research. And so if you've got a question of like, oh, here's this app. I have an idea for an app that they use AI to do this, that, or the other thing. Run that by Claude, and then like it'll give you suggestions about like, oh, here's some custom models that you might want to be. Oh, custom model. How do I use that? Oh, well. You could run it with Olama. You're like, well, okay, how do I host that? Or I could run that over on Hugging Face, or, and then, kind of work your way into it, but always start from, like to say, like AI isn't the thing, it's the thing that helps you get to the, right. Always start for, at least that's my advice. Always start with the practical first, the customer first. What do you want? What do you think people want? And then work your way from there.
Yeah. I like that. That's good advice. Last question, which I kind of like. Where can people find you if they want to reach out? And how can our listeners be useful to you?
Oh, wow. Well, jump over on Jack Herrington on the YouTube channel and like and subscribe. That's always good. I am on all the socials, X and all that. But really, I spend most of my time kind of over on Discord. I'm on the TanStack AI Discord. I'm also on the Front End Fire podcast with my friends TJ and Paige, and we have a blue collar coder channel for that, so people can go and talk to us about what we talked about on recent episodes. And we have a fun little thing where we have say what's making us happy at the end of every week, and
Nice.
a lot of it's kitchen gadgets and shows you're watching, and yeah. Oh, what was I thinking? Night of the Seven Kingdoms, so good. Oh my god, that was a great show. Yeah. Loved it. Like old school Game of Thrones, like season 2, 3, where it was just so good. Not like the season 8 and 7 teleporting nonsense. Yeah,
that's funny. And how can the listeners be useful to you?
Like and subscribe, and also, I mean, if you are into this kind of stuff, like code mode, AI, like we are looking for people to help us with this. We're looking for companies to sponsor this. We're looking for people to jump in, have an opinion, pick up tickets, work on stuff. And, I think the old school things matter. Like when people talk about like, oh, it's a hard job market and all that, having that open source background is good. But have it, don't just, throw Claude at something and then say, oh, okay, cool, make a PR, whatever, without reviewing it. Like do the right things, right?
That's awesome. Well, Jack, thank you for coming on the show. This was a fun episode. Yeah, it was nice talking to you, and see you around.
Number 9.
Yes.
Number 9 is in the can.
And to the audience, thank you for showing up today. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to subscribe. Reach out if you have any topic suggestions, anything you'd like me to cover in the future. I'd always be happy to help out. And as always, have a good one.
Thanks, Mazen.
Thank you, Jack.